Tuperas y Tuperas today on DOOP by the River. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a hard-fought match, and the Union walk away with the point. We talk about Saturday night showdown against Cincinnati that the Union had. We're going to look ahead. Another busy week here for the Union. Charlotte on Wednesday. The MLS Cup rematch against LAFC on Saturday. And don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get it started, guys. Done!
DOOP by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of DOOP by the River, I want to welcome everyone, whether you're watching live on YouTube, Twitter, you're listening to the recording. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to us. If you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe for all your future viewings of DOOP by the River. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, you could find all of our tweets, stay up to date with all of our action at the pitch, or I should say at the ground. Make sure you guys follow on Twitter, and of course, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts as well. Follow us on DOOP by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined as always with my expert in duping. Please give a warm welcome to my man, Fustin Driedberg. What's going on? I don't even know what to call you today. What's up, brother?
It's a bit of an inside joke on today's one. If you've been following a certain north of the border team and a really interesting situation going on, it's something that you wouldn't think in the modern age, but for those who get it, you leave a comment on YouTube or Twitter if you get the joke. I'm sure you'll get a nice chuckle. It's nice getting back into the swing of things, doing this a little consistently. I know our schedules have been kind of nuts, and it's been tough to find time, but here we are.
Yeah, dude, that's the priority for sure, man. Of course, it's again me this weekend, as I'll be heading out to Austin this weekend. So I'm gonna definitely try to check out Austin versus LA Galaxy. No promises for sure, because dude, from what I understand, there's a crap ton to do in Austin. I don't even know where to bite my teeth into it. So I'm definitely excited for that one. But yeah, guys, we're gonna keep these weekly the pods going as best as we possibly can. Obviously, we're in the crazy stretch, and obviously, we'll be there for the playoffs for you guys. So we'll be definitely there. But Justin, dude, I had to today. The champions are back, baby! Champions! Listen, you know me. I've been in my Porto kick these days. What a win. I know Elsinho wasn't happy about this one, but Porto took care of Shakhtar Donetsk. But your Man U added tomorrow. I don't know how confident you feel.
Yeah, it's like if we didn't have bad luck, we'd have no luck. We're not as bad as we've been playing. It does not help that our injury list is literally at this point a starting 11. I mean, especially with the Anthony and Jadon Sancho situations and the injury, there's a lot, and betting in new players. This was not a great start to the season, but yeah, we got Champions League back. I mean, we're going to get fucking throttled by Bayern, but hey, we're getting Champions League.
Your old friend Harry Kane.
Wouldn't it be funny if Harry Kane was the reason Tottenham didn't win trophies and not Tottenham themselves? I'm just saying, it would be funny. A bit ironic.
Listen, I know there's a lot of snake-bitten organizations in American sports, but there's not a club like Tottenham, brother. Not many clubs like Tottenham.
I mean, they're playing well post Harry Kane.
Who's scoring the goals now? Who's the main goal scorer? Or they're not?
At this point, it's spread around, but James Madison's doing well.
That's right.
Son on the one wing. Even Richarlison got in on the the last game. So it's been they've been spreading the goals out.
Do I recognize this? I just saw my boy Davinson Sanchez got sold to Galatasaray, who you guys see in the second round of Champions League. So You guys take it easy on my boy Davinson.
You mean the Turkish Retirement League?
Dude.
Like, if you look at players on like Galatasaray or Fenerbahce or Besiktas and go, I thought they were retired, or oh yeah, they play.
Dude, Italy and Turkey really took that away from us. Luckily.
Yeah, I was gonna say comparatively, like it's anyone who still calls us the Retirement League clearly does not pay attention to
And most teams, I'm sorry, all teams in the world would take Lionel Messi, and then most teams would take Busquets and Jordi Alba. I mean, I'm just saying. So the Miami situation.
Though I do have to ask on a completely unrelated note. I don't know if you have been following this is tangentially Lionel Messi related, but also mostly soccer related. Our pal and friend of the show, Alexis Guerreros on Running Footy, broke down. I don't know if you've seen Lionel Messi's the pizza order.
Pizza, yeah.
And Alexis, if you have not watched this video, listen. There are certain things that certain people know a lot about, and Alexis Guerreros and pizza. He could teach a college class about the fine intricacies of pizza. And watch the video if you have not, because our boy, I was learning things I didn't even know about pizza. Really,
this video. The pizza that he
here it is right here.
Yeah, like it's a
and apparently I didn't know this. This was an
really
education I received over the
like
weekend. Argentine
I
pizza
can't see
is a thing, and there's been a lot of debate as to whether or not
I think he's gonna
what
break it down
that
here.
pie looked like actually is Argentine pizza. But we're very lucky because at this desk we have an Argentine and we also have a
pizza connoisseur.
Is that what you wrote down? Stop it. I was absolutely not going to say that. You are literally like the pizza guru. So
I trust you more than what's the guy, Portnoy? That does the pizza ratings?
You and everybody else.
Alexis is the guy. Okay. And so, we have Charlie's deep dive. Alexis is going to do an Alexis deep dish.
Here we go.
Dive.
Which
I didn't come up with that.
Important. And Charlie gets to go to the wall, so I want to go to the wall.
Take a trip to the wall.
Oh, snap.
Break it down for us.
For a little respect, you were very upset, Nico.
I was.
The reaction of this pizza because you like to defend Argentina.
I don't feel like it was a fair representation of Argentine pizza.
It certainly wasn't, and it's not a great bake. Can we get a photo of the pizza? Do we have a photo of the pizza? Can we put it on the wall
He's
here?
got notes.
Okay. Yes, I do have notes, and this is important. Look, let's talk about the actual pizza itself. When we talk about pizza, we talk about the crust. The crust is any of the dough that has been baked. If you look at it, it's very pale. This is not a great example. People like to see Maillard reaction, okay, which is the browning, the caramelizing of sugars. And the toppings, they don't look great. But I think the issue is the question became, is this pizza? Is this a good pizza? And I gotta say, it's on the fence as to whether it's a pizza or not. Because actually, this is called a fugazza, right? Mm-hmm. Which sounds a lot like focaccia, does it not? Mm-hmm. In fact, if we think about where this pizza came from, this pizza originated from the Liguria region of Italy, okay? If you look at the box, the name says Parcero. This pizza was invented by a gentleman named Don Antonio Parcero, who opened up a bakery in Argentina. His son, Juan, and his children opened up this place, the Parcero Bakery in Argentina after their grandfather's bakery, and they decided to adjust it a little bit. So let's see. Can we go to the next one? This is Liguria, Genoa, where the majority of people, the Italians from Argentina came. In fact, I'm going to need you to focus on this area for a little bit because this is where the accent focaccia becomes fugazza, okay? Let's switch to the next one. That sounds a lot like what you're ordering, a fugazza. Their children were like, yeah, this is cool, but this is a little old school. I want to switch it up. So let's go to the next one. So now you know focaccia is really fugazza. We see the toppings, okay? We got tomatoes, onions, and olives. What are the number one toppings in the Liguria region of Italy to put on a focaccia? Oh, I don't know. How about tomatoes, onions, and olives. So it's originating from Italy. It's real. It has a lineage to Italy. This isn't just some bastardization of pizza in Argentina. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Now, if you were to go to the Liguria region of Italy, there's an area just to the right, which I asked you to focus on. It's called Recco. This is a focaccia di Recco, or a fugazza di Recco.
Pizza.
This is a very special focaccia. It's very hard to find in New York. There's a place called Keste that makes it. This is a very thin and crispy slice of dough with cheese.
All right, we can't play this whole clip.
But if you watch the entirety of the video, apparently Alexis even said that he had a college professor use this as as a lesson. And I will say, shouts. Listen, I like to think I know some things about food and what, but I don't know if I could go on that. So to a friend of the show and pal who I have talked food with to that level, Alexis, buddy, well done. That was impressive.
But he still won't give Colombian Hawaiian pizza a chance, huh?
I don't think I'd give Hawaiian pizza a chance. I can't.
Guys, but like, there's something about going to your local like park in your neighborhood in Colombia and then just getting like a slice. The oven's right there. Like, I don't know. It's just must be.
Now, if you're throwing some, I don't know, some kind of asada on a pizza, now
shit right there.
Now we're talking. Now we're really talking.
That is freaking dope. All right. Well, with that said, now we got our pizza fix out the way. Just let's dive into it today. I want to talk about the Cincinnati match, a 2-2 draw. You unfortunately blow a lead in this one. You do. You get a Jose Brujo Martinez banger. Dude, if Brujo Martinez is going to score goals this year, it's only going to be a banger. That's what we've learned so far.
What was it? No goals in like 100 shots and 3 this year, and they've all been absolute fucking bangers.
Yeah, even the second one wasn't a banger, but it was still like a pretty technical.
Pretty good, pretty damn good. I'll say that NYCFC goal was a banger. I mean, it takes a lot to get over that and to smash that thing near post.
For sure. You get Daniel Gazak getting another PK goal, which obviously the debate continues again about that one.
I can only score PK goals.
But more importantly, Justin, the Union honestly since Ernst's been in Philly, when this team has a lead at halftime, like literally like over 95% of the time, they're getting the 3 points. They didn't get that. They got 1 point away from it. So definitely disappointing here. Where I want to steer first to this conversation. Look, Cincinnati is pretty good. I think we've all seen that. I think we don't have to argue that. However, I still like the Union chances. But the one thing that concerns me, and it was a concern again on Saturday, is the depth of the soccer team, brother. Bupensa comes off on the bench for Cincinnati. And that's a solid piece that they picked up when Brenner left, right? He's supposed to be the replacement. That's coming off the bench. And you saw the difference that he made coming off the bench. We're obviously missing pieces coming off the bench. We are pretty thin. We're still waiting for Taibo Ribo. We'll wait for that one. But with the amount of matches they have played, I mean, I don't know about you, but I could see some fatigue settling with this team at times. The depth is a concern for me heading into the playoffs, considering that's the last leg, man. And you have some injuries. Obviously, Brujo went down and Urre went down, which we'll look at some of the notes of today's presser about those two guys. But, dude, for you, man, like, where are we at with the depth, man? And with the amount of matches the team has been playing as well.
I think there are places on the field I'm not worried about depth. I think outside back, I think you're good. You have depth in the midfield, which you haven't had in past years. At the forward position, I mean, Ty Baribo has actually looked decent in the moments he's had. He hasn't had a ton of chances to really create, but he likes to drop back. He can hold up. He can post out. He can spread. He was making some solid decisions, in terms of his hold up play, which did create some chances. The Union just couldn't finish those. The only place that the depth concerns me, and it is really because he the past couple months has had some of the worst run of form, and it is getting incredibly hard to defend him. It's at center back, and it's Damian Lowe. For like before Leagues Cup, I will say in league play, I think he was having a decent season. Not a great season, but a decent season. You know, he was steady. He was allowing the Union to play in a back three. Since Leagues Cup, Damian Lowe has been playing super poor. And I think the reason that he is still, he's still making the lineups is because you don't have any other options behind him. You have a young, untested kid who's playing for you two. You're not going to throw him into the fire at this point in the season.
Craig's away on loan too.
Yeah, and I think you had that that was obviously done kind of when things were looking up, but center back depth concerns me, and it's mainly because of the play of Damian Lowe. I am having a hard time defending and justifying his inclusion in the lineup these days.
Let me ask you something real quick, because onto the depth question. Obviously, look, let's be honest with one another. The winter period last year didn't work out in the way Ernst Tanner wanted it to. I think Lowe will be fine going forward. I think that he's going to be a good piece that they're going to keep rotating into the team. I think that going forward, no matter what happens with Elliot Glazes, I think this team wants 3 solid center backs to continue rotating. But do you think that Ernst and Jim may be reluctant in the future of sticking with the MLS market, considering the luck they've had in countries that you wouldn't expect to find talent?
Yeah, I think they've done well having a MLS vet as a fourth option. Seeing Aurelian Collin, I think Gooch at the time obviously was supposed to be kind of a backup, but he became a starter. Obviously, having a guy like Stu at the time was good. I genuinely think Ernst may get that young, maybe early to mid-20s center back from not an unproven league. I mean, you pulled Glesnes from Scandinavia. I mean, and a lot of those teams compete in European competition regularly, and you got Stu from Scotland. So it's not like you've gotten super untested markets in certain positions. So I think I am curious to see if Ernst goes. I know there's a lot of those things have been European, but I'm curious if they go back to the well from early Union and go the South American center back route. I think there are a lot of good up and coming talents coming through those leagues. I mean, I think there's a reason that when it comes to the Copa Libertadores, that it's always the teams with the most insanely physical defense that I think translates well in a league like this. And you look at players, and I think of Leandro Gonzalez Perez, who was a big part of why Atlanta won.
He was nasty in 2020.
I think looking at historically, those kind of center backs from South America have always had that physical edge. And I think in the league like MLS, you're definitely that leans well. And you look at what you've done with center backs that have played a physical edge. I think Glesnes at the current moment is that kind of prime example. While he can pass and he has a great passing range, he is someone who is not afraid to body up on an attacker and kind of make sure they know he's there. So I do hope that they kind of, obviously center back's not going to be your main concern, because your main concern is probably going to be replacing Carranza, assuming he leaves. But sure. I think if you see a decent center back prospect along the way, that's not MLS. I think this is something where Ernst, that's kind of a signing where I would go under the radar. And I think having that kind of competition, I think will be good for Damian Lowe, and also give Jim more options, because I think I think he's hamstrung by the fact that Lowe is really his only other option at that point.
I'm with you, man. I mean, defense is definitely a concern for myself as well because of the amount of matches they've played. I mean, Glezis and Elliott at parts of the season as well have had uncharacteristic play, and then you're just like, what? Like, you look at the Toronto match, like, you're scratched like, hey, like, what is going on here? Lowe, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's just trying to do way too much. I feel like that's, from when I watch Lowe, I feel like that's what it is. Man's just like trying to make a play instead of just doing your job and doing the simple things that go a long way. And I feel like that's kind of been the issue per se here with Damian Lowe. And Brandon Craig is weird. Now, from talking to some Austin people, it just sounds like the problem is the manager. He's very stubborn, Wolf. And so that could be the issue with Brandon Craig. I don't know. Maybe I'll find some information this weekend. We'll see. But I would like to, you talk about finding center backs, and talent around the world. Dude, this country that we live in, they produce so many great center back talent. Even this club itself has developed young talent within our area here. And I wonder if that could be the future as well. But the worst part about it, Justin, no Elliott for tomorrow's match with that suspension there.
Yeah, that is something that is a point I think that of course, the stats. This is the second most yellow cards in a game with 11. Second time the Union have broke the top 5 in terms of yellow cards in the game. Ismail Elfab had a horrible game. I think he lost the plot early. Matt Miazga should have been sent off. The amount of times he was already on a yellow, and he was pulling all that shit, and Elfab let it go. He let a lot of it go, and I think that set the tone, and that's why you saw guys getting cards for some of the softest things, and you saw guys getting like it. The game, I had I looked at Tim and I said this game is going to get out of control. And I said it's going to get at least a red card, at least one red card. And like it blew my mind. I thought Elfab. I typically think Elfab is one of the better refs in the league, and that single-handedly was one of the worst games I've seen officiated.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's been a lot of that as well throughout the year. Also, too, you get some worries here with El Brujo and Michael Urre. Now, let me pull up real quick. I had here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I have here some of the notes from. Now
Brujo's a little more concerned than Uwaz. Uwaz, I thought, seemed more like just him getting subbed off at the usual moment comparatively to most. Brujo's did look a bit concerning.
Okay, so Curtin did say that Martinez is fully fit and ready to go for Wednesday, so that's good news. I don't see anything here about Urre.
Which might mean he may be good. It might have just been a normal sub, at least.
He did limp. I mean, yeah, he did limp off. But may have been something, just a little knock, but maybe he's fine here. But I mean, obviously it's concerning because like I'm watching the match, and again, the amount of matches this team has played, and I just see it on these guys' faces. Like I see a bunch of guys that are just trying to dig deeper. But that definitely was obviously a little bit concerning. But looks like Brujo should be back and Urre should be ready to go as well. But before we move on to the next match, Cincinnati. How much of a juggernaut will this team be? Obviously, they've been the best team thus far in the MLS this year, but how much of a juggernaut can this team be in the playoffs? I mean, you know how we were in 2020 when we were the number 1 seed, bro.
That game was that Luciano Acosta is 100% necessary for that team. I think games where he either isn't in or just doesn't show up as much, I think they're not going to be always able to scrape by like that. I think they will absolutely be an insanely tough challenge, but I still wonder, that back line can be very slow. I think Miazga does not have the legs, neither does Hagelin. I think Mosquera is clearly relied on to do a lot of the running in that. Barreal, they want him getting up, and Arias, they want both of them getting up. They really do not want them defending as far deep. And so I think there's a lot of pieces that like it has to either work really well or they have gritted out wins. So I think being at home will be different. But I still have reservations about whether there'll be a juggernaut. I think they will be tough. But juggernaut, I think you've seen the last month or so that this team is starting to slow down. And it's not the same high-flying impact that they were. I think there's moments, but like with a lot of teams, I think that how they go into this next month is going to be key because they're gonna, even if they have a poor run of form, I think they're gonna win Supporters Shield.
Yeah.
But we've seen poor runs of form going into the playoffs with those kind of teams can be for a quick exit. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they play it out over the next month.
Yeah, I mean, and the one thing to consider as well, I mean, the Union are a different team at home, and we've seen it before, especially in the playoffs when you got to sell out a crowd and the place is rocking. Man, it makes a huge difference there. And I mean, I hate to beat this drum again, but like, I wonder what like a full 90 minutes looks like against a team like Cincinnati, when they can pull out Sergio or Dambaji or depends however they want to line up.
I think they did not look good with Baji on, like they went to essentially like a whole front three of strikers forwards, and I thought they looked a bit disjointed. Like I don't think Cincinnati. I think because think about it, they essentially really play in like a 3-5-2 or a 5-3, really a 5-3-2. And so when you're taking off those midfielders, I think if you're gonna have like, and then it's like where do you put Acosta? Where do you put like? I think it's that too many cooks, too many chefs in the kitchen can make for a bad meal. I think having what they have, I think again they will be dangerous. But the more like watching that game, I was like, the Union beat themselves more than because like that second goal that Cincinnati scored was off a Carranza turnover. It was a Carranza turnover. Putting Nate in a bad situation where Nate can't step up to that ball and that comes back in. The first goal, Lowe is slow to it, and that one, it happened. But the second one really is the Union beating themselves up. Outside of that, the Cincinnati had a few chances, but they looked a bit disjointed, and I think Pat Noonan has a plan A and part of a plan B, but I think he goes through those very quickly, and there's not much after that.
Okay. All right. Nah, listen, it should be interesting, and obviously, Cincy versus Philly is going to be entertaining if they meet in the playoffs here. The last point I want to talk about before we look into our next two matches, Justin, our boy Evan, dear friend of the pod, he brought up a really good point I wanted to bring up here. So this was the 10 lowest attendance in the MLS this past weekend. And like you look at some of these numbers, Houston number 1 with 14,000. I think DC in 6th lowest with 17,000. That's not too far off from what the Union do as a sellout at 19,000. Now, a lot of the discussion here is back to what the topic we've had for so long, Justin. Do we stay in Chester? Do we move into Philadelphia, into the city confines here? Obviously, at some point, this league is growing rapidly. The popularity of this team is also growing. They're gonna have to expand. They're gonna have to expand Subaru Park or find something else. But I want you to give your honest opinions about this discussion, man. Like, obviously look at both sides of this.
For one, for the people who are saying they should move to the link, fuck no.
Definitely not that. Please,
that's not. You're not moving from Chester. I mean, you are sinking a lot of money into the development of the academy building, the training center.
It's coming along very nicely, by the way.
Yeah, that would be an insanely dumb thing to push that. they did build out Subaru Park to where you could easily expand on the sides, and potentially behind the river end. So I think there is reverse
in the river. Justin?
It would be. I mean, it would again. I think if they did that, if they were expanding on that, then I would push for safe standing. I would love to see.
Justin, we literally would be duping in the river, man.
I would love to see safe standing. I've been one of the few who was like. I was in the supporter section in Columbus. I love safe standing. I think it would be smart. The union could expand. I think you can expand. I don't know if the plans are in for that, but I also think people look at like stadiums like the Bernabeu and Camp Nou and Old Trafford, like these insane 50 to over 60,000, like 100,000. The average soccer stadium is like what, 30,000, like 20 to 30. Like, yeah. I think people's expectations are insanely high, and I it doesn't help that, like, yeah, freaking, Seattle plays in a football stadium. So does Atlanta. Like, I think those numbers throw an average like way off, because even like Providence Park is the biggest soccer specific stadium. I think they're at like 25 or 30. Like, it's not. So I understand. Yes, they could expand. I just think that people have to temper their expectations as to what exactly that means.
All right. Like, I do feel a little bit like if you build it, they will come. I do feel like if they did build some type of 30,000 seat stadium in Philadelphia, people will show up, even the casuals there. Look, been to Chester thousands of times now, man. It's home. It feels like home. I couldn't imagine a day of not going to Chester for a home match. Definitely not the link. Definitely not the link. One thing, though, to keep an eye out for, Justin, is the situation with the Sixers right now, because there is a strong pull from both sides, people for and against being in downtown Philadelphia. I personally, we can disagree all we want. I'm against it simply because Chinatown is too important to the culture of Philadelphia, and I don't want that getting fucked over with. And so that's where I would draw the line. And the city, as old as it is, as Philadelphia is, trying to build a stadium is hard as can be. All right, Sixers plan. They're planning for what now? 8 years from now, I guess, since that was announced like 21. Dude, they might look at longer than that if they really want to try to do this downtown thing. So I'm with you simply because of what we have built down into Chester. I think some people need to just get out the city. Leaving city confines will not hurt you. You're not going to melt. You're not going to burn. You'll be fine. People are there. I do think that the train situation could possibly get approved.
It could be improved, and I think that's what they're talking about with 26. But I think the biggest thing that people are not looking into of moving out of Chester is that would be a massive fuck you to the city of Chester. Like, of all the things that they pulled to get the stadium. True. And I know it's taken a bit for the union to make good on it, but you've seen over the last 5 years what investment in the city has done for the goodwill for the team. I think you're starting to see a turn in the public opinion around it. Yeah. And so to just turn face and go up, we're out here, we're moving back to the city. It's like I think whatever goodwill you would have, you may have received at this point would instantly be gone. I think it wouldn't even be a question.
But what if, like, just hypothetically, what if they could find a use for it, whether it be an NWSL team that we've been dying for here in Philly? I think it would be a stretch to have a justification for as big. Like, I think if you have an NWSL team, it can be like with Red Bull and Gotham, where you share the same stadium. I don't think, like, again, my concern is it's going to pull away all the eyes from Chester, and a lot of the eyes have shown some things that I think have needed to be addressed, and
whether they are or not, it's at least being looked at. And I think people aren't considering what this team, like, to me, like, I literally can't picture not going to Chester for games. Like, I just can't, and I think it means a lot to, like, and also like yeah, okay, the train situation could be improved. I think that's kind of what 2026 is, the World Cup is kind of supposed to be looking at, but at the same time, looking at how this team has become so accessible in Chester, and such a standing. I feel like it would break a lot of things, and I just can't picture it. You can I think you can expand. I think that's not what's in question. It's just making sure that it's done in a way that isn't like. Yeah, I just hope that they still take like the heart of what Subaru Park is, without making it some gaudy looking thing. Like, I don't know. It just, especially with the way that the modern soccer stadiums are being built now, the fucking square edges and all this. It's super dumb. I'm not a fan of the way newer stadiums are being built. So I don't want the Sub to lose its charm.
For sure, man. That character that it has, for sure. Like, people don't understand, like, when you drive to Subaru Park, for me, the minute I get under the Commodore Barry Bridge, like, Justin, goosebumps.
Oh, see,
heart racing.
When I'm above it, and I'm driving by, and I got the beer in the back of the car, I look for the tailgates, and I'm looking over, and it's quiet, and it's just that moment. It's like, and then then once I hit the off ramp, I hit the off ramp, and I take that swing around, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, I'm back. Like, it's that moment. Even for me, that moment you get off at exit 13 on 295 South, going towards the bridge, like, that's where I'm like, all right, this is it. I did
buy Heinies out here. All right.
Yeah, he was coming up for some Heinies, and I did. I did have to tell Jose that I've been getting some flack from the Kai stuff. I still might, people have been listening to my stance, and I stood by it in the stadium. I stood by it, and but yeah, it was great to see him. Yeah, he was surprisingly one of the few people who did have some Heinekens. We do tend to have a lot of Heinekens that don't always. There's only certain people that usually get Heinekens.
Heineken is forever will be the safe beer. Like, if I go somewhere and they don't have anything I like, more than likely they'll have a Heineken, and I'm ordering that. So it's the safe bet to always get, man. Jose, this is a really good point. Obviously, we're playing Charlotte tomorrow. Be careful what you wish for. I spoke to folks in Charlotte with a 38,000 seat stadium. They wish for something smaller to maintain intimacy and avoiding spreading out across.
And I think I think that's the thing people don't realize. And again, the size of most soccer specific stadiums, even internationally, these massive ones that are for some of the larger teams, or that are used for international games, they're the exception to the norm. I love the smaller grounds where you are on top of the other team, and when your opponent comes to the corner, you are seeing some 6-year-old kid kitted up in a scarf just giving a 25-year-old Belarusian winger the business. Like, that's the kind of stuff I love to see.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Justin, let's get into that team we're going to face off against tomorrow. So on a Wednesday night midweek matchup, the Union have to travel down to Charlotte.
Almost forgot this game was happening.
But a lot of people do not forget, Justin, the 4-0 thumping that they gave us last year in Charlotte around the same time period as well. And obviously, that was an infamous match because that essentially knocked us out of Supporters Shield as LAFC were able to beat Portland. So it's interesting. Charlotte this year, again, they're pushing for playoffs. They're currently in 11th. They are just 3 points behind DC United, who they just got done drawing over the weekend. Charlotte right now have 7 wins, 11 draws, and 9 losses on the season. And I mean, to just put it like simply for everyone, Charlotte is a good team. They're well structured. They're well managed as well, in my opinion. I do think they lack that. I think they lack overall a better elite talent spread out through the team. Obviously, Swiderski's really good. Enzo has been able to come back, still trying to get acclimated into things, but they don't score a lot of goals, Justin, and they tie a whole bunch as well. They do a good job of, keeping the score low and keeping it tied up as much as possible. But that's one thing where I look at it right now, and I don't want to be this type of fan, but it does concern me because Charlotte also are going into a tough stretch later on, or after this match here. And so Union going down there with the amount of matches they have played, I'm honestly hoping that they come out here with a draw. I know we shouldn't be looking like that, but I'm hoping you can talk me off the ledge here, Justin.
I would normally be that person. I'm not pessimistic. I think you're going to see a lot of squad rotation. I think especially whether it's due to injury or in the defense's case, 1 game suspension. I think not that you're looking ahead to LAFC, but I think between the 2 games, I think the LAFC match is definitely more important because again, you are in 3 straight weeks. This is the first of 3 weeks where you are Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. And I think before the international break, and I think you have to look at this game as let's set up pretty defensive. I think you're going to see a 5-3-2. I think you're going to see them sit back and wait to pounce on the counter.
Do you think they stick in the 3-5-2?
No, I think it'll be it'll be a 5. Like I think typically I always say the Union on the ball is 3-5-2, and in possession it's 5, and non-possession is 5-3-2. I genuinely think they're going to play a little more conservative on this kind of game. I do think you might see the introduction of Ty Barabo. I think this would be a good game to get him in. I would love to see Carranza get a rest and maybe throw in a Quinn Sullivan. If I'm being wild here, but I think it's at this point, yeah, I would love to see like an ugly 1-0 win or a 1-1 draw. I think your focus is to be get at least a point and get out of there without any injuries or any obviously suspensions again.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Heineken cigars. I agree, man. That's a fantastic combination, my brother.
There's an interesting combination. I like one more than the other.
True. Additionally, expect at least 3 bodies rotated tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, Elliott is obviously for specifics, but I think I would love to see Carranza rotated simply to have him more focused for LAFC because I would love to see Carranza going at that back line with Chiellini and Aaron Long.
So you think Gazak goes both games too?
I would hope not. I think he'll start, but I would hope to see him get subbed out by like the 65th minute.
You really have no option when Gazak's out. Like, what's the other option you're gonna do?
I think you throw in maybe McGlynn and Bueno. I think maybe you put Bueno a little more advanced.
Okay.
And I think that would have to be something where you would have to definitely throw him in there. Maybe throw Matt Real. Like, I feel like, yeah, that would kind of be my exact rotation. As I said, Carranza, Ua, and Nate. I think that's going to be realistic. And I would hope Gazdag would get subbed off. Yeah, I think you're gonna I think you're not overlooking Charlotte, but I think realistically between the 2 games, LAFC is absolutely the more important game.
Thing is, it's not going to be easy though.
No, not even the slightest. It is going to be an ugly game, but I think the Union can excel in ugly. I think people forget that's kind of been the Union's bread and butter.
They do like ugly.
Since their inception, like I think, yeah, the Union game has gotten prettier and we score more goals now than we used to. But goddamn, we do play some ugly soccer at times.
Yeah, man, and hopefully, you get Brujo out there, who has shut out Swiderski pretty much every time we play them. So that should definitely shut that out. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Watching Charlotte, they love to dominate possession as well. So that bodes very well for us.
And the Union do better when we don't have more possession. Like I think that's what people forget. Like people were like the Union like last game. It was like what? Like at one point it was like 67%. Like exactly. Like we are at the very base of it. We are still a counterattacking team.
Yeah,
and we thrive in that open space. That like when teams leave it in open, we can cut and slash our way through and get chances on net. And I think to smash and grab at least a point, maybe even all 3 points, you're just going to sit back and absorb pressure. And I think the Union can do that.
Oh, by the way, in our favorite turf field, ladies and gentlemen, thank you NFL for that.
Which actually, if the NFL gets their way, if the NFLPA gets their way, Charlotte may have to address that.
Not to get too far off topic. Did you see that Bradley Chubb injury last night, bro?
I heard about it.
And that was on grass, so that's obviously not mainly part of this conversation. But yeah, dude, that was absolutely disgusting, man. But it's please, I'm tired. I mean, soccer should not absolutely. Like, if you want to make the argument for football, I mean, football players argue about that too, honestly. So
I love playing on turf, but I'm not a professional soccer player.
Yeah, man. Like,
much different me than Lionel Messi. Even though even though I mean, you can't prove that I haven't won a World Cup. I'm just saying.
How's your Argentinian pizza game?
No, that's not pizza. That's a flatbread. I think that's a flatbread to me. I know. Alexis is that. I don't think I can justify calling that pizza. That was a tomato and onion flatbread.
It's a chopped salad on bread, bro.
Yeah, it was something.
All right, so let's do this. Let's do this lineup real quick. So obviously Blake in goal, right? Blake in goal here for Charlotte. So you're predicting a 5 back line here.
Mm-hmm.
What does these back line even look like, man?
I could see you doing Kai, Matt Real, Damian Lowe, Glesnes, and Mbaizo as a back 5.
Okay. And then so what you're doing 3 in the midfield?
I think you do Brujo, Gosdog, and I'm gonna lean towards McGlynn.
Okay. And so then that would leave your 2 forwards. So you're saying that Carranza get rotated.
I think both get rested. I think you're gonna see. I'm predicting Quinn Sullivan and Ty Baribeau.
I like that better. I mean, I don't know. I just Ty and Chris. I don't know. I prefer.
I think you give Ty the chance. I don't see why you like. I think you gotta give him at least 60 minutes. See what he can do.
I'm saying I would rather see Quinn over Chris alongside Ty.
Oh, 100%. I think because Ty is that guy that's going to slink in, and I think that's why him and Carranza. I mean, they ended up playing well together, but I think you saw that initial like tough kind of butting heads because they both do like the drop deep. But I think Quinn has no problem cutting in and slashing in to make that run, and I think that works perfectly with someone like Baribeau who likes to drop a little deeper.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Final score prediction?
I'm going to say 1-0 victory. I think they get a very ugly goal in the first half, and I think they just shithouse their way to a draw or victory. I think it's going to be, but I'm thinking 1-0 victory.
I hope so, man. I hope so. So with that match, so you're in Charlotte. Now you come back up home, and it's the MLS Cup final against LAFC. Before we get into this matchup, obviously we still got to get through Charlotte, but I would think, like, when the season started, The minute that Monday hit, I thought people would already be talking about this matchup, and I'm really not hearing much. But so, like, I have to ask, that buzz around the matchup last year in the MLS Cup final, is that still there for this upcoming match Saturday?
Oh yeah. No. I have been looking at this game for a while, and first off, it is if you are coming down to the Soup, again, as Jose did, please stop by the Sons of Ben tailgate. I will be slinging drinks at the beer table as I usually do. In celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, we will be having a taco bar.
Hey now,
I do believe we are going to be getting some international candies to have at the tailgate. So please do come by.
What's the rule on liquor on the tailgate these days?
It's still the usual beer and seltzers and vodka sodas. So I'll have the state sides, the Trulies. I'm sure I absolutely will throw in Tecate, because Tecate is a popular one at tailgates.
Go on.
But yeah, come on by. It is going to be a insanely hopping tailgate. I am predicting. I have to imagine it's going to be close to.
No, man. Now we know.
Now we know how to.
Dude, they got this good, man. It's a good shit.
We have play. That's the thing. I always try to throw that in because we usually use the smaller coolers for Heineken and or Tecate. But I might have to lean more towards Tecate for this tailgate.
Modelo's man.
Oh God, Modelo is my jam. I am a fan though of Soul. If you've ever had,
that's a good one. People don't
Soul is an underrated choice.
For sure, man. Victoria's another good one.
I don't know if you've ever had the Micheladas, the Modelo Micheladas.
Yes.
That's some. I can think my friend Allison, who lives in Pittsburgh, who's born and raised L.A. She's a wild Galaxy fan.
That's dope.
One of like the most proud LA Hispanic people I've ever met. But has to some good shit. So that is my other choice. So if I can, because when they're chilled, they're pretty solid. I can't complain.
Pretty damn good. Let's get into LAFC here. Obviously they just got done El Tráfico, in which they did win 4-2. But look, since CCL, they've kind of struggled as well, like us. And I mean, obviously they played the same amount of matches we have. Difference is, Justin, like, I don't know. I hear much more noise out of LA than I do Chester. It's a weird thing, Justin. That
I think it's just because people still think, like, looking at LA, I think their biggest problem is it's like with Cincinnati, how they were very reliant. They're still very reliant on Lucho. I think LAFC go as far as Denny Bouanga goes. I think you have a pretty balanced roster, but I think that offense just lacks a little something when Bouanga is not on his game. Vela, a legend there, I think is past his prime on being a more solid, a more regular contributor. I don't know. I think the Union are going to do well to make it ugly like they did in MLS Cup. I think you want to make it ugly. You don't want it to be open and expansive, because that is where Bouanga and LAFC will thrive. And you've seen in the game, I mean, they've won 2 and lost 4. Like in the last 6, they have not really looked all that good. And it's when teams frustrate them and when they make it ugly. And I think the Union can do a good job of that.
And I think what's going to be the big difference on Saturday is going to be the fact that you will have Subaru Park. And look, I mean, I make the comment, but like I know Philadelphia, and I know that once kickoff,
We hold grudges. We're petty.
yeah, dude, it's gonna come out the minute you see that black and gold. We're gonna freak out, and I know damn well, and I'm gonna be excited watching away from Austin, just watching Union fans just booing the crap out of LAFC, but. It's still a good team. It really is. We know them very, very well, obviously, as well. And this will be the first time since I think people forgot too. Like they did kill us in the semifinal matchup, man. In CCL, that second leg one, obviously.
I was gonna say again, that was in LA. Like the home match, the Union did really dominate. So I think that's kind of what people also could flavor in, because again, it's always been in LA that the Union haven't done great, but at home the Union have held their own against LAFC.
Yeah, for me, it's more so about it's going to be another important match to prepare for the playoffs because of who LAFC is and what happened last year, and it's definitely not going to go away. So with the rotation being what it was, what do you think with the lineup on Saturday?
I think you go back to a more of a normal lineup. Obviously, Elliott will be back. I think you put Elliott in there. I think Nate comes back in because of his defensive ability. He did a great job at shutting down Alvaro Barreal on Saturday. I think if Brujo is there, you put him in. I think you put Jesus Bueno on the left and Jack McGlynn on the right. I would put obviously Gonzaga at the tip, and then Carranza and Ua. I think that's going to be one of your stronger lineups at the moment.
I mean, how do you think you slow down Boanga and that talent?
I think you keep him wide. I think you don't let him cut in. I think you frustrate him. You get in his face. You and make him make the move. I think you just generally get under his skin. I think when he gets like pissed off in that moment, and not in the pissed off of like, oh, I'm going to score on you. It pissed off like the little things. I think the Union do well at really grinding the gears of oppositions and making it ugly. And I think that's kind of where the Union. I think that's going to be the Union's game plan: is muck things up, make it ugly. Do not let them get going. Do not let them get flowing. I think you're gonna see. I think these next two games are gonna be kind of ugly soccer, and I think that's kind of where the Union are thriving.
I really think, and this week's gonna be big, man. I mean, obviously the tough stretch began Saturday realistically against Cincinnati, and it keeps going here. But I mean, points on the table here, and I mean, I know we're pretty comfortably in a playoff spot, but dude, like I want to rise in the seedings here, man. I don't know I don't think we're gonna catch Cincinnati,
but I think you have a game in hand, and you're only 3 points back of second place. Like I think that's what people fail to realize. That game in hand does come against Dallas, but like you still have a game in hand.
Get as many points as possible. Let's try to host as many matches in the playoffs at Subaru Park. Justin, my man, let's get that score prediction on Saturday against LAFC.
I would love to be wrong and for the results to flip. I'm going to take a 2-2 draw.
We've never beaten LAFC, right? Now I'm thinking about that.
But I think I would love to draw Charlotte and beat LAFC, be the reverse of what I said. But I think getting a point, getting 4 points out of these two games would be big. And so I think a 2-2 draw.
This might sound a little hot takey, but I'll take a loss against Charlotte if I can beat LAFC on Saturday. I want to beat them that bad, Justin.
That's why I said I would love to be a draw against Charlotte and the win against LAFC. Like I think 4 points is realistic against in this stretch.
Oh man, dude, this is why we love this sport. This is why we love our game, man. For weeks like this one, man. 2 matches. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be Philly. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Justin, man. Dude, I love doing these pods with you, man. I appreciate it as always, man. I appreciate you guys as well. And that's going to do it for another episode of Dupe by the River. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We're going to be back next week. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more of your live viewings of Dupe by the River. Follow us on Twitter, subscribe wherever you stream podcasts. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that is Fussin Drydenberg. That's a little bit of a tongue twister there. Of course, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to dupe on. Beat LAFC and Charlotte.